Surfing is a surface water sport in which the wave rider, referred to as a surfer, rides on the forward or deep face of a moving wave, which is usually carrying the surfer towards the shore. Waves suitable for surfing are primarily found in the ocean, but can also be found in lakes or in rivers in the form of a standing wave or tidal bore. However, surfers can also utilize artificial waves such as those from boat wakes and the waves created in artificial wave pools. The term surfing refers to the act of riding a wave, regardless of whether the wave is ridden with a board or without a board, and regardless of the stance used. The native peoples of the Pacific, for instance, surfed waves on a lyre, pipo, and other such craft, and did so on the belly and knees. The actual modern-day definition of surfing, however, most often refers to a surfer riding a wave standing up on a surfboard. This is also referred to as stand-up surfing. Another prominent form of surfing is bodyboarding, when a surfer rides a wave on a bodyboard, either lying on the belly, drop knee, or sometimes even standing up on a bodyboard. Other types of surfing include kneeboarding, surf matting, and using foils. Body surfing, where the wave is surfed without a board, using the surfer's own body to catch and ride the wave, is very common and is considered by some to be the purest form of surfing. Three major subdivisions within standing-up surfing are longboarding and shortboarding, and these two have several major differences, including the board design and length, the riding style, and the kind of wave that is ridden. In tow-in surfing, a motorized water vehicle, such as a personal watercraft, tows the surfer into the wave front, helping the surfer match a large wave's speed, which is generally a higher speed than a self-propelled surfer can produce. Surfing-related sports such as paddleboarding and sea kayaking do not require waves, and other derivative sports such as kite surfing and wind surfing rely primarily on wind for power. Yet all of these platforms may also be used to ride waves. Recently, with the use of V-drive boats, wake surfing, in which one surfs on the wake of a boat, has emerged. The Guinness Book of World Records recognized a 78 feet wave ride by Garrett McNamara at Nazaré, Portugal, as the largest wave ever surfed. Although this remains an issue of much contention amongst many surfers, given the difficulty of measuring a constantly changing amount of water, origins and history. For centuries, surfing was a central part of ancient Polynesian culture. Surfing may have first been observed by British explorers at Tahiti in 1767. Samuel Wallis and the crew members of the Dolphin, who were the first Britons to visit the island in June of that year. Another candidate is the botanist Joseph Banks, being part of the first voyage of James Cook on the HMS Endeavour, who arrived on Tahiti on the 10th of April 1769. Lieutenant James King was the first person to write about the art of surfing on Hawaii when he was completing the journals of Captain James Cook upon Cook's death in 1779. When Mark Twain visited Hawaii in 1866, he wrote, "In one place we came upon a large company of naked natives, of both sexes and all ages, amusing themselves with the national pastime of surf bathing." References to surf riding on planks and single canoe hulls are also verified for pre-contact Samoa, where surfing was called faasee, and Tonga, far predating the practice of surfing by Hawaiians and Eastern Polynesians by over 1,000 years. In July 1885, 3 teenage Hawaiian princes took a break from the boarding school, St. Matthews Hall in San Mateo, and came to cool off in Santa Cruz, California. There, David Kuananakawa, Edward Kelly Ironui, and Jonah Kuhiokalanana all surfed the mouth of the San Lorenzo River on custom-shaped redwood boards, according to surf historians Kim Stoner and Jeff Dunn. George Freeth is often credited as being the father of modern surfing. He is thought to have been the first modern surfer. In 1907, the eclectic interests of the land baron Henry E. Huntington brought the ancient art of surfing to the California coast. While on vacation, Huntington had seen Hawaiian boys surfing the island waves, looking for a way to entice visitors to the area of Redondo Beach, where he had heavily invested in real estate. He hired a young Hawaiian to ride surfboards. George Freeth decided to revive the art of surfing, but he had little success with the huge 16-foot hardwood boards that were popular at the time. When he cut them in half to make them more manageable, he created the original longboard, which made him the talk of the islands. To the delight of visitors, Freeth exhibited his surfing skills twice a day in front of the Hotel Redondo. In 1975, professional contests started. That year Margot Oberg became the first female professional surfer. Surf waves. Swell is generated when wind blows consistently over a large area of open water, called the wind's fetch. The size of a swell is determined by the strength of the wind and the length of its fetch and duration. Because of this, surf tends to be larger and more prevalent on coastlines exposed to large expanses of ocean, traversed by intense low-pressure systems. Local wind conditions affect wave quality, since the surface of a wave can become choppy in blustery conditions. Ideal conditions include a light to moderate offshore wind, because it blows into the front of the wave, making it a barrel or tube wave. Waves are left-handed and right-handed depending upon the breaking formation of the wave. Waves are generally recognized by the surfaces over which they break. For example, there are beach breaks, reef breaks and point breaks. The most important influence on wave shape is the topography of the seabed directly behind and immediately beneath the breaking wave. The contours of the reef or bar front becomes stretched by diffraction. Each break is different, since each location's underwater topography is unique. At beach breaks, sandbanks change shape from week to week. Surf forecasting is aided by advances in information technology. Mathematical modeling graphically depicts the size and direction of swells around the globe. Swell regularity varies across the globe and throughout the year. During winter, heavy swells are generated in the mid-latitudes, when the north and south polar fronts shift toward the equator. The predominantly westerly winds generate swells that advance eastward, so waves tend to be largest on west coasts during winter months. However, an endless train of mid-latitude cyclones cause the isobars to become undulated, redirecting swells at regular intervals toward the tropics. East coasts also receive heavy winter swells when low-pressure cells form in the subtropics, where slow-moving highs inhibit the movement. These lows produce a shorter fetch than polar fronts, however they can still generate heavy swells. Since the slower movement increases the duration of a particular wind direction, the variables of fetch and duration both influence how long wind acts over a wave as it travels. Since a wave reaching the end of a fetch behaves as if the wind died. During summer, heavy swells are generated when cyclones form in the tropics. Tropical cyclones form over warm seas, so their occurrence is influenced by El Niño and La Niña cycles. The movements are unpredictable. Surf travel and some surf camps offer surfers access to remote tropical locations, where trade winds ensure offshore conditions. Since winter swells are generated by mid-latitude cyclones, the regularity coincides with the passage of these lows. Swells arrive in pulses, each lasting for a couple of days, with a few days between each swell. The availability of free model data from the NOAA has allowed the creation of several surf forecasting websites. Wave intensity. Artificial reefs. The value of good surf in attracting surf tourism has prompted the construction of artificial reefs and sandbars. Artificial surfing reefs can be built with durable sandbags or concrete, and resemble a submerged breakwater. These artificial reefs not only provide a surfing location, but also dissipate wave energy and shelter the coastline from erosion. Ships such as One that have accidentally stranded on sandy bottoms can create sandbanks that give rise to good waves. An artificial reef known as Chevron Reef was constructed in El Segundo, California in hopes of creating a new surfing area. However, the reef failed to produce any quality waves and was removed in 2008. In Corvalum, southwest India, an artificial reef has, however, successfully provided the local community with a quality left-hander, stabilized coastal soil erosion, and provided good habitat for marine life. ASR Limited, a New Zealand-based company, constructed the Corvalum Reef and is working on another reef in Boscombe, England. Even with artificial reefs in place, a tourist's vacation time may coincide with a flat spell when no waves are available. Completely artificial wave pools aim to solve that problem by controlling all the elements that go into creating perfect surf. However, there are only a handful of wave pools that can simulate good surfing waves, owing primarily to construction and operation costs and potential liability. Most wave pools generate waves that are too small and lack the power necessarily to surf. The Sega Ocean Dome, located in Miyazaki, Japan, was an example of a surfable wave pool, able to generate waves with up to 10-foot faces. The specialized pump held water in 20 vertical tanks positioned along the back edge of the pool. This allowed the waves to be directed as they approached the artificial sea floor. Lefts, rights, and A-frames could be directed from this pump design, providing for rippable surf and barrel rides. The Ocean Dome cost about $2 billion to build and was expensive to maintain. The Ocean Dome was closed in 2007. In England, construction is nearing completion on the Wave, situated near Bristol, which will enable people unable to get to the coast to enjoy the waves in a controlled environment, set in the heart of nature. Surfers and surf culture. Surfers represent a diverse culture based on riding the waves. Some people practice surfing as a recreational activity while others make it the central focus of their lives. Within the United States, surfing culture is most dominant in Hawaii and California because these two states offer the best surfing conditions. However, waves can be found wherever there is coastline, and a tight-knit yet far-reaching subculture of surfers has emerged throughout America. Some historical markers of the culture included the woody, the station wagon used to carry surfers' boards, as well as board shorts, the long swim shorts typically worn while surfing. Surfers also wear wetsuits in colder regions. The sport of surfing now represents a multi-billion-dollar industry, especially in clothing and fashion markets. The World Surf League runs the championship tour, hosting top competitors in some of the best surf spots around the globe. A small number of people make a career out of surfing by receiving corporate sponsorships and performing for photographers and videographers in far-flung destinations. They are typically referred to as free surfers. When the waves were flat, surfers persevered with sidewalk surfing, which is now called skateboarding. Sidewalk surfing has a similar feel to surfing and requires only a paved road or sidewalk. To create the feel of the wave, surfers even sneak into empty backyard swimming pools to ride in, known as pool skating. Eventually, surfing made its its way to the slopes with the invention of the snurfer, later credited as the first snowboard. Many other board sports have been invented over the years, but all can trace the heritage back to surfing. Many surfers claim to have a spiritual connection with the ocean, describing surfing, the surfing experience, both in and out of the water, as a type of spiritual experience or a religion. Maneuvers. Stand-up surfing begins when the surfer paddles toward shore in an attempt to match the speed of the wave. Once the wave begins to carry the surfer forward, the surfer stands up and proceeds to ride the wave. The basic idea is to position the surfboard so it is just ahead of the breaking part of the wave. A common problem for beginners is being able to catch the wave at all. Surfers' skills are tested by their ability to control the board in difficult conditions, riding challenging waves, and executing maneuvers such as strong turns and cutbacks than carving. More advanced skills include the floater and off the lip. A newer addition to surfing is the progression of the air, whereby a surfer propels off the wave entirely up into the air, and then successfully lands the board back on the wave. The tube ride is considered to be the ultimate maneuver in surfing. As a wave breaks, if the conditions are ideal, the wave will break in an orderly line from the middle to the shoulder, enabling the experienced surfer to position themselves inside the wave as it is breaking. This is known as a tube ride. Viewed from the shore, the tube rider may disappear from view as the wave breaks over the rider's head. The longer the surfer remains in the tube, the more successful the ride. This is referred to as getting tubed, barreled, shacked or pitted. Some of the world's best-known waves for tube riding include Pipeline on the north shore of Oahu, Tihapu in Tahiti, and G-Land in Java. Other names for the tube include the barrel and the pit. Hanging 10 and hanging 5 are moves usually specific to longboarding. Hanging 10 refers to having both feet on the front end of the board with all of the surfer's toes off the edge, also known as nose riding. Hanging 5 is having just one foot near the front, with 5 toes off the edge. Cutback, generating speed down the line and then turning back to reverse direction. Floater, suspending the board atop the wave. Very popular on small waves. Top turn, turn off the top of the wave, sometimes used to generate speed and sometimes to shoot spray. Air aerial, launching the board off the wave entirely, then re-entering the wave. Various airs include ollies, Leon airs, method airs, and other skateboard-like maneuvers. Terms. The glossary of surfing includes some of the extensive vocabulary used to describe various aspects of the sport of surfing as described in literature on the subject. In some cases, terms have spread to a wider cultural use. These terms were originally coined by people who were directly involved in the sport of surfing. Learning. Many popular surfing destinations have surf schools and surf camps that offer lessons. Surf camps for beginners and intermediates are multi-day lessons that focus on surfing fundamentals. They are designed to take new surfers and help them become proficient riders. All-inclusive surf camps offer overnight accommodations, meals, lessons and surfboards. Most surf lessons begin with instruction and a safety briefing on land, followed by instructors helping students into waves on longboards or softboards. The softboard is considered the ideal surfboard for learning, due to the fact it is safer, and has more paddling speed and stability than shorter boards. Funboards are also a popular shape for beginners as they combine the volume and stability of the longboard with the manageable size of a smaller surfboard. New and inexperienced surfers typically learn to catch waves on softboards around the 7 to 8 foot funboard size. Due to the softness of the surfboard, the chance of getting injured is substantially minimized. Costco's Ally Design Wavestorm surfboard is as a cheap and cost-efficient option. Unlike many surfboards, this one comes with rubber fins, stock leash, pre-installed traction. Typical surfing instruction is best performed one-on-one, but can also be done in a group setting. The most popular surf locations offer perfect surfing conditions for beginners, as well as challenging breaks for advanced students. The ideal conditions for learning would be small waves that crumble and break softly, as opposed to the steep, fast-peeling waves desired by more experienced surfers. When available, a sandy seabed is generally safer. Surfing can be broken into several skills: paddling strength, positioning to catch the wave, timing, and balance. Paddling out requires strength, but also the mastery of techniques to break through oncoming waves. Takeoff positioning requires experience at predicting the wave set and where they will break. The surfer must pop up quickly as soon as the wave starts pushing the board forward. Preferred positioning on the wave is determined by experienced reading wave features, including where the wave is breaking. Balance plays a crucial role in standing on a surfboard. Thus, balance training exercises are a good preparation. Practicing with a balance board or swingboarding helps novices master the art. Equipment. Surfing can be done on various equipment, including surfboards, longboards, stand-up paddle boards, bodyboards, wave skis, skimboards, kneeboards, surf mats, and Macca's trays. Surfboards were originally made of solid wood and were large and heavy. Lighter balsa wood surfboards were a significant improvement, not only in portability, but also in increasing maneuverability. Most modern surfboards are made of fiberglass foam, with one or more wooden strips or stringers, fiberglass cloth, and polyester resin. An emerging board material is epoxy resin and expanded polystyrene foam, which is stronger and lighter than traditional P construction. Even newer designs incorporate materials such as carbon fiber and variable flex composites in conjunction with fiberglass and epoxy or polyester resins. Since epoxy EPS surfboards are generally lighter, they will float better than a traditional P board of similar size, shape, and thickness. This makes them easier to paddle and faster in the water. However, a common complaint of EPS boards is that they do not provide as much feedback as a traditional P board. For this reason, many advanced surfers prefer that the surfboards be made from traditional materials. Other equipment includes a leash, surf wax, traction pads, and fins, which can either be permanently attached or interchangeable. Sportswear designed particularly suitable for surfing may be sold as boardwear. In warmer climates, swimsuits, surf trunks or board shorts are worn, and occasionally rash guards. In cold water, surfers can opt to wear wetsuits, boots, hoods, and gloves to protect them against lower water temperatures. A newer introduction is a rash vest with a thin layer of titanium to provide maximum warmth without compromising mobility. In recent years, there have been advancements in technology that have allowed surfers to pursue even bigger waves with added elements of safety. Big wave surfers are now experimenting with inflatable vests or colored dye packs to help decrease their odds of drowning. There are many different surfboard sizes, shapes, and designs in use today. Modern longboards, generally 9 to 10 feet in length, are reminiscent of the earliest surfboards, but now benefit from modern innovations in surfboard shaping and fin design. Competitive longboard surfers need to be competent at traditional walking maneuvers, as well as the short radius turns normally associated with shortboard surfing. The modern shortboard began life in the late 1960s and has evolved into today's common thruster style, defined by its 3 fins, usually around 6 to 7 feet in length. The thruster was invented by Australian shaper Simon Anderson. Mid-size boards, are often called fun boards, provide more maneuverability than a longboard, with more flotation than a shortboard. While many surfers find that fun boards live up to the name, providing the best of both surfing modes, others are critical. It is the happy medium of mediocrity, writes Stephen Kotler. Funboard riders either have nothing left to prove or lack the skills to prove anything. There are also various niche styles, such as the egg, a longboard-style shortboard targeted for people who want to ride a shortboard but need more paddle power. The fish, a board which is typically shorter, flatter, and wider than a normal shortboard, often with a split tail. The fish often has 2 or 4 fins and is specifically designed for surfing smaller waves. For big waves there is the gun, a long, thick board with a pointed nose and tail specifically designed for big waves.